Good afternoon. There's a lot of you here. Full house. Okay, I wasn't expecting this many people, but that's okay. It's my privilege this afternoon to speak about AI, and I have to give you a warning about AI from the start. There are so many AI tools coming into the marketplace, it's nigh impossible for me to go through them. They're probably now in the thousands. So what I'm going to do this afternoon is we're going to pick a few, and we're actually going to have a look at the principles of actually using AI, because you might all use different AI tools for your particular application. So where I have to start really is at the beginning, and I want to start with this particular book here. This is a book called Atlas of AI, and this is written by Kate Crawford. And Kate Crawford is one of the legends in Silicon Valley, really investigating AI and having a look at how AI is shaping power, how it's shaping politics, how it's shaping things like, planetary costs, and looking at AI in ways that people aren't necessarily focusing on, but really important things. And she has a really powerful statement about AI, which is this: AI is neither artificial nor intelligent, because AI is probably the single most mislabeled piece of technology in human history. AI says it's artificial and intelligent, but it is neither artificial and it is neither intelligent. And I just want to unpack that a little bit first. So let's have a look at what AI is. And this is important if you're going to use AI to get that context of what AI can do and what it can't do. So AI is a pattern prediction trained on human knowledge. And this is where you say AI isn't intelligent. AI is actually about pattern predictions, and it is trained on human intelligence. And it's important to note this: AI does not replace wisdom. It accelerates preparation, and that's really where the key part of AI lies. Don't rely on AI as a source of wisdom. Because it is trained on human data, it has all the flaws of the data it is trained on. So there's two phrases that you'll come across often when you're using AI that I just want to unpack before we go too much further. The first one is this one, which is LLM, which is short for Large Language Model. And what a large language model is the data set that AI is based on. And there are a lot of them around. And basically they feed a whole heap of data into these large language models, and that is the base knowledge that AI uses to be able to give you the results that it gives. The second term that you'll start seeing a lot when it comes to AI is this term, which is generative AI. And generative AI is simply a system where the AI tool interrogates the LLM, or the large language model, the data that it's been given, at the point of time you ask it your question. And it will create the result at that point of time. Because the thing about large language models is they are continuously learning new data. They're actually learning data from when you engage with it, and it learns your response. So if you wait a little bit, say you come back to that particular AI tool the next day and you ask it the same question, it may give you a different response. because the term generative AI means it's generating the response at the time you ask the question. So you can go to an AI tool and you can continue asking it the same question, and it could continue to give you different responses. So this is just one of the flaws to understand about, or one of the warnings to understand about AI when you're using AI, is how it treats the data. It's continuously learning, and its bias is based in the information it's been fed, and it creates the result at the time you ask the question. That's generative AI. So I want to get a little bit technical, not too technical, because I actually want to do a SWOT analysis with you. I really think it's important to understand what the strengths are, the weaknesses are, where the opportunities lie, and where the threats are when using AI. Because everything that we use, all the tools that we use, even the simple hammer, the threat of the simple hammer is I might accidentally miss and actually hammer my thumb. Every tool we use has, answers in these 4 areas. So let's have a look for AI. So, what's AI really good at? AI is great at efficiency and automation. It's great at understanding how things operate and improving that and making it more efficient. It's great at data processing and analysis. So one area that I use AI in quite a lot is in if I'm doing any coding, like for websites or applications, and something's not quite right, I'll actually put my code into AI and ask it to interrogate my code, why isn't it working, and it will give me the results back. And again, it doesn't always get it right, but through a process I can, I'm a fairly junior coder, but I can use AI to turn me, a junior coder, into an intermediate coder. So it's a tool that helps me with productivity. Healthcare application advancements, we're seeing because a lot of healthcare is actually based on data. And I'm going to explain one in a second. Enhanced customer experiences. Companies like FedEx and Amazon and these big companies that rely on delivering something extremely quickly to you when you order it, they're using AI to improve that flow and to get content to you quickly. So here's an example within the church of AI in action. So this is Dr. Levi Basson from Sydney Adventist Hospital. He's a surgeon there. And they have developed an AI system. So this was in the news, I think it was last year. Australian first AI system keeps patients safe. And what they're doing is they have developed this system they call the Ainsworth Index. And they put the data in from their patients whenever they're actually monitoring them, their temperature, their blood pressure, what their heart rate is, any tests that they do, they put that in there. And the AI is actually able to predict a patient deterioration up to a day before humans can see it happening, because it sees it in the data. And this is where AI is brilliant. When you have a lot of data, it can analyze that data and find trends in that data and actually be able to deliver great insights into that data for you. That's extremely hard for humans to see within the data. So this is something that is happening at Sydney Adventist Hospital right now, and they're going to be rolling that out in other hospitals as well. So let's have a look at weaknesses. So bias and fairness. A lot of people think that AI has no bias, but AI is as biased as the data it has been trained on. And this is one of the real dangers of AI. If you feed AI with a particular viewpoint, it will only ever deliver that viewpoint back to you. And when you're choosing your AI tools, it's really important to understand what data, where are they getting that data from. So transparency and accountability. A lot of AI companies are not actually very transparent on their data, where they get their data from. And in fact, privacy and security, there's a lot of data theft out there to build their models, and even dependency. So, I'm going to give you an example here on where a lot of the popular AI platforms like ChatGPT, where they're actually sourcing their data from. So you'll notice here that the number one, this was in June 2025, the number one source of data was actually Reddit. And Reddit is an opinion platform from people, not facts, just opinions. So, that in my mind brings up a very stark warning when you look at AI. So, I actually want to give you an example, and I hope this works. It worked 5 minutes ago, and because AI is generative AI, what I experienced 5 minutes ago may not happen right here. So, let's give it a go. I'm actually going to use Grok for this example. And I'm going to put in this prompt into Grok. What does Ellen G. White think about AI? So let's see. Okay. So here's Grok. What does Ellen G. White think about AI? Where are we? So it's searching its data sets, it's going and finding information. Now I hope the, okay, so I want to come down to this one here, her general views on technology and knowledge. I want to come down to this one here, warning about science, inventions and deceptions, because you'll see here that this particular source of data is from YouTube. So if I click on YouTube and come to this one, here is a YouTube video made by somebody in the world that is their opinion piece on what Ellen White would have thought of AI. So AI has grabbed this video, transcribed it, pulled that data into its large language model, we've asked it the question, and then it's given us a result saying, hey, this is what Ellen White would have thought about AI. Is this true? Okay, so this is where the human aspect of understanding AI comes into it, because validation of source data and what it is saying to you is one of the most important things. So that's just an example of where AI goes out and grabs a whole heap of data and adds it into its information. So let's have a look at the opportunities now. So, great for operational efficiency. So these days, if you have companies that, for instance, we have these companies that have parcel delivery into homes. They feed all the parcel delivery addresses into their AI model, and it maps out for them the quickest route of how to deliver those parcels out. And they'll actually follow that route, and it's much more efficient than a human going, oh, I think I'll go to that place first, and that place second, and that place third. So, operational efficiency, economic growth, it's great at finance, it's great at, Excel spreadsheets and understanding formulas. Anything that's data orientated, it's really good at. Let's have a look at some of the threats. There's actually moral implications when it comes to AI. There is an impact on employment. So we are seeing some areas of employment where people are losing jobs because AI is taking over. There are cultural implications. Okay, this is my number one beef with AI. My number one beef is cultural implications. Because what's happening is because so many people around the world are going to only a few AI companies for their information, which is probably most likely based on a data set from that region. I'd say like Silicon Valley companies would have a lot of American data in their AI models. The information they're giving back is what I would call homogenized, which means all the cultures around the world who are using that service are being influenced by a singular culture changing, opinions and ideas globally. And what we don't want is a homogenized world where everyone thinks the same, where culture has disappeared, because there is beauty in culture, there is beauty in our differences, there is beauty in our histories, and I think it is so important when we use these tools that they don't make us feel, sound and deliver like we're just part of a singular culture. Energy consumption, not something a lot of people think about AI, but it is a threat, and I'm going to give you an example of that in a second. Trust and transparency, the amount of theft or intellectual property theft that has gone into building these AI companies is staggering. And governments are very late now implementing laws to stop this happening. There is a movement in Australia that you as an individual will automatically have your face and your voice as your personal copyright, so that it would become illegal for AI to duplicate you. So that is a movement that is happening around the world at the moment. I want to show you something that a lot of people may not have thought about. Okay, here's a Google search, and here is an AI prompt. Pretty much looks the same as a Google search. So what we've calculated here is how much energy would it take to execute a Google search and have that energy run a 60-watt light bulb. I think this is the fairest way to show the comparison of energy consumption between doing the same thing in, say, like a web search engine and an AI engine. So for the first one, a web search engine, you're looking at about 5 hours. So when you calculate the energy of the infrastructure and your computer and the telecommunications to get your signal, your information to Google, and then they process it and send it back, that single search can run a light bulb for 5 hours. If you type the exact same thing into something like ChatGPT, it's 48 hours. So the energy consumption of AI is probably the most underspoken about or discussed issue when it comes to energy. And because everything is becoming AI is now in Facebook, AI is now in Photoshop, AI is becoming part of every application. It's in your email, it's in Microsoft Word now, it's everywhere, and the energy it needs to run is phenomenal. And this is a problem for energy security. And this is something that there is a huge debate at the moment in Sydney about allowing more AI data centres in, because Sydney itself cannot deliver the energy it needs to these companies. It's a problem. I'm just giving you the landscape. We're going to get into the tools for ministry in a second. So just some of the basics about the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats when it comes to AI. So let's have a look from, I guess, that's AI as a whole. Let's have a look from a ministry perspective. Let's do a SWOT from a ministry perspective. So where AI is great is it can save you time. It's great for translation. It can help improve clarity. And it can increase creativity. Its weaknesses are it's sometimes, often incorrect. It needs checking. And the thing that AI is really good at is it sounds confident when it's giving you a wrong answer. It's like, here's this answer and this is right. And it's not. There's two terms when it comes to AI, when it's like video or images and people recognize it as a bad piece of AI. It's called AI slop. That's a new phrase that's coming into language. And the other one is AI hallucinations. So AI is designed to basically facilitate your needs. It learns you, it understands what you want, and therefore it will hallucinate or make things up just to please you. And so if the key to eliminate this weakness is to understand how to properly prompt AI. And this is one of the key tools about using AI, is to learn how to prompt properly. The opportunities in ministry, we can take a lot of content and turn it into local language ministry. So the capacity now to take content that's not in a language and bring it into another language is huge. We can actually give tools to lay leadership to help empower them and give them more confidence in ministry and in small church capability. Now, what AI can do is it can turn one person and give them skills in lots of different areas so a small team can achieve more things. That's one of the key opportunities. The threats is misinformation. If you start over-relying on AI for everything, and a loss of authentic voice. And one of the issues with technology is when you start over-relying on technology, you may even limit the capacity for the Holy Spirit to work on you and the messages that you need to deliver to those people at that time. So again, it's great news. AI can do great things, but with great caution. So to put a couple of single points in the SWOT analysis, AI can allow one ministry leader to work like a small team because there's tools there for them to achieve this, and this, rather than just their one skill set. Its weakness is AI produces convincing results and language, and it's not guaranteed to be true. The huge opportunity, I believe, for the South Pacific Division is it removes language as a barrier to mission because it's becoming better and better and better at translation in audio, translation in video, translation in text. AI, the big threat is AI should assist your thinking and productivity, not replace your discernment or block the Holy Spirit's leading. So I'm actually going to give you an example now in ChatGPT. I'm going to use 3 prompts. And the prompts I'm going to use are: rewrite Luke 15 in simple English so it could be understood by someone who has not read the Bible before. Translate this into Bislama. And rewrite this into a story that can be read by an 8-year-old. So let's do that. Okay, so I've pre-put this in here, rewrite 15, and this is very small. There we go, that's a bit better. So it can be understood by someone who has not read the Bible before. Now, remember, I tested this before. It's generative AI. The result it gave me this morning will be different to the result it gives me now. this is different to what it gave me this morning. So basically, it's having a look at Luke 15, and it's creating a simple English version. The 3 dots here, okay, so it's now finished. We have the lost coin, the lost son. Simple meaning of Luke 15. Now, this is interesting because this is about 4 times longer than the last result it gave me. So what it's probably done, and this is what AI does, is it learns you. It knows I'm asking the same prompt twice. So it's thinking and going, oh, the last time I delivered this wasn't good enough. So I'm going to deliver something more. And that's what it's done. And in my prompt, I haven't, and this is where learning how to prompt is the key thing here. What I haven't done is I haven't limited it to a certain length. So, and because I didn't put that limit in there, it's just gone and given me more and more and more. So let's do step 2. Oh. This will be interesting because I don't know Bislama. Does anyone here know Bislama? There's a couple. So I'll be interested to see if this is actually fairly accurate. So this is an area that AI does fairly well, and it's doing better and better and better, is in translation. But once again, I would always find somebody who is an expert in this space after this has been given, giving it to them, and then having them do a human audit on the content. So what I'm going to do now is ask it to rewrite this for an eight-year-old. I'm also going to add in here, I'm going to make it a short story. So now it's actually taking that content and rewriting it in a style that would be more representative for an 8-year-old than an adult to actually be able to read. So it's this type of translation, work that I think that AI is going to be great for. Specifically when we develop a resource in one area that we can actually translate that through so that the once creation can be used multiple times right throughout the Pacific. So I'm going to go through some stages here to have a look at how you can use AI in your content creation. So we've got a couple of big events coming up, being, South Pacific for Christ and One Voice 2027, that are going to use online content quite heavily. And the key thing to understand here when using AI is that the thing is, when you have a process, it's about understanding what AI tools to use in that process. Then it's about understanding how to accurately prompt. And then it's about understanding where AI is great and where you need the human part to make it accessible and human for other people to read. So, I've got this okay, where most people use AI wrong. So this is the most commonly used platform, ChatGPT. And here is the process a lot of people do. Write a 1,500-word blog post about a topic. They get a generic draft, they spend 45 minutes rewriting it, not to sound like a robot, and they publish something mediocre. And there's a few things wrong with this process. I guess it's a start. But the key thing is that what we're wanting to do with AI is we're wanting you to use it as a productivity tool. And this isn't making you more productive. This is, we've been trying to use AI for some really creative things. And the time it takes us to actually get us to a point where we go, well, we could have actually written that quicker ourselves, is quite amazing. So we've learnt a lot in that process. So let's have a look at how we can actually do things faster than just doing this particular process. So let's have a look at what's going wrong here. So AI is really great at specific tasks. So research synthesis is a specific task. Outline generation, a specific task. First drafts, a specific task. Rewriting for tone, a specific task. SEO optimization. What was wrong with that first prompt is it tried to do all of that in one step. And when you're using AI, you're never going to get, if you're content creation, you're never going to get a good result in one prompt, one step. So, AI is terrible at doing all of them in a single prompt. So, what was wrong with that process is we started with a blank prompt, and we didn't give any context. We didn't add any of our own notes, none of our own data, explain what my angle was. We didn't give it examples of content that we wanted it to sound like. And we also didn't actually talk to it about our audience or who we're trying to reach, etc., or what our outcomes are going to be. So, give you an example. ChatGPT is great as a brainstorming partner. Claude writes most natural long-form content. Surfer SEO handles optimization. Adobe Firefly can create visuals. These are all different applications doing very specific things. So AI-empowered creators will generally use 3 to 5 specific tools, not an all-in-one tool. Now, I just have to mention something here. All of these AI platforms are for profit. And one of the issues we have in this modern era is because we have a lot of programs that do one specific thing, when you go, I'm going to sign up to these 5 different programs, it starts becoming expensive. So discovering your workflow and limiting the cost outlay is part of what your discovery will be for your ministry if you want to use AI to enhance productivity and to get content out quicker. So there's an important part here in why that first process was wrong, is we skipped the human layer completely. It's important that that AI is serving you. You're not letting AI dictate to you what the output is going to be. So content without original insight, personal experience, and genuine expertise. It's interesting that Google, if you're putting this out there, is starting to bury AI-generated content because it's very good at actually understanding what is AI-generated. So let's go through a few steps. And I want to show you some prompts and some tools that we can use through a content creation process. So step 1, research and idea creation. So what we want to do here, I'm looking at this as a productivity. Can we take a normal 60-minute process down to 10 minutes using AI? So this particular stage is great for topic research, competitor analysis, question mining, data gathering. And here's some prompts that you might want to use in your chosen AI area. So, what are the top 10 questions people ask about a particular topic? Include the questions that are people in Google's People Also Ask. So what you're doing there is you're actually doing research now on what are people asking about a particular topic, rather than presuming you know what people are asking. Summarise the key arguments from the top 5 ranked articles about a particular topic. What do they all cover? What does nobody mention? What this one's doing is going, okay, let's do a research on other people who have answered these particular questions, but are there missing things that could be our advantage of actually highlighting because we're offering some different information? Find recent statistics about a topic from 2025 to 2026. So again, this is research. This is, go and find me data about this particular topic. So this can help you cut down, an hour's worth of research, maybe down into 10 minutes, where it will give you all this information, and then you can start looking at that information to say, okay, what direction am I going to go in? So there's different tools that you can use for this. ChatGPT is definitely one. It's good for live research. But, unless you prompt ChatGPT, it will not actually give you citations or where it actually got the information from. So if you want ChatGPT to give that to you, and an interesting thing about ChatGPT is sometimes even when I ask it for its source data and I click on that link, it doesn't exist. It can sometimes just make up a source and go, hey, here's the website I got it from, but it actually doesn't exist. So Perplexity is better for sourced answers with citations. Claude for synthesizing large amounts of information into clear summaries. So as you can see, each of those 3 AI platforms do something different or have a competitive advantage. So, this is about having a look at your workflow and finding the tools that will work for you. All right, outline creation. We've got all this information. We've gone, what questions are people asking? What information have other people given to those questions? What's missing? And where's data about those particular questions? So can we do an outline, which would normally might take me 30 minutes of what I want to say about this? Can we cut that down to 10 minutes? So this is about structure, subheadings. This is something I use a lot. One of the things I will do even is I will now, after I've done my research, I will simply, with no structure, put down all my ideas and then ask for, the AI agent to go, take my incoherent information, my data dump, and put it in a coherent format and feed that back to me, and I will reread it through to see if I'm actually going in the right direction. So, some things that you can go is based on these research notes, create a detailed outline for a 2,500 word article, targeting keyword. Now, again, you're creating a framework here. It doesn't have to be a 2,500 word article. You could be saying, give me a 30-word Instagram, post on this. So you're defining what the output will be, and that's an important part. If you're going to do websites, you can add things in like including subheadings. So the angle is, type in your particular angle of that particular topic. Make sure the outline reflects this point of view throughout. So what you're doing is you're saying to the AI agent, here's my particular point of view. I want to make sure that you're focusing this particular content on this particular point of view. So having a look at tools, again, Claude is really good at structured outlines. ChatGPT is good for alternatives, but it's not as good as Claude for this particular activity. So that's step 2, I would suggest. Step 3, first draft generation. So how can we take something that might take hours, you know, I want to write an article on or something, and then turn that into 15 minutes instead of hours and hours. So this is actually the mistake of the first prompt that I said, this is not how you do it, because this is where people generally start. They don't do those first two steps. Let's do market research. Let's have a look at, you know, our unique point of view. Let's create a structure, and then we get to this step, which is important. So writing, here's an example. Write section 2 based on this outline. Tone, conversational, direct, no fluff, includes specific numbers from the research. Write as if explaining to a smart beginner. So what's interesting about this particular prompt is you're actually defining your audience. This is the smart beginner at the end. You can change that audience to, you know, it could be a medical expert, and the language could change. Somebody who is hearing this information for the first time, and the language would change. And then you're specifically asking it to insert the data in. Again, this is looking if you're creating something long with a lot of data in it. If you're looking for something for social, you would define that this is going to go on this particular platform for this particular audience, and this is the information I want in it. Now, here's a little trick. So you'll notice at the top there, I said section 2. So AI will attempt, if you're writing something longer form, it will attempt to write it long form for you, but it's generally not that good at it. So it's really important that when you're doing something more long form, that you break it down into sections, and you understand what point you want to get across, and you say, in section 1, and you put your prompt in, and you ask it to generate that. And then you go again in section 2. So as you can see here, what we're developing, what you're seeing is AI isn't a put in one prompt and get a brilliant result. It's understand what it's good at, what it's not good, create a process, and your process might be 5, 6, 7 parts long, but the end result will be a lot better. Now, who loved the videos of seeing the pioneers from the past come to life? Okay, the video team spent a long time on that and probably used about 15 different applications to get that result, 15 different AI applications. And there's you know, weeks and weeks worth of work in there. What they did not do, and here's the key thing, what they did not do is they didn't put a grainy photo of one of our pioneers into ChatGPT and say, create a video of this person coming off a boat. And they had a one-step process. If you do that, you will get a result that is kind of laughable and what we call AI slop. So it's about developing your process to get the desired result, understanding it will take time to learn the tools and which ones go together and what processes you need to put for your particular output. So tools for doing longer form sections. Claude Sonnet is much better than ChatGPT than doing long form writing. ChatGPT often sounds very robotic. A little key that you can do for ChatGPT, if that is your desired particular application, is I use ChatGPT to rewrite a lot of my emails, but what I have done, because I just love to just dump something in and go, oh, that doesn't sound that great, I better ask AI to make me sound more coherent. And I've actually taken a lot of my writing, I've uploaded and said, I'm training you in the way that I speak, the language and the words that I use. I want you to have this as a resource that I can use in the future, and then I'll say, please rewrite this email in my voice. So it will default to the types of words and languages and sentence structures that I use, but it will put it in a much more coherent way. That's a time-saving thing for me because I can just dump down my ideas in an email. I ask it to rewrite it in my voice. I go, yep, that sounds great. Make a couple of changes, send it off, rather than going, how should I really write this email? And half an hour later, I've gone, oh, wow, okay, now that sounds good. I can do it in 5 minutes. So you can train AI in particular voices, particular ways of talking, which is great. Now, Jasper is one that a lot of bigger marketing companies use, and the reason for that is there's a team environment, and you can actually upload your style guide and your language guide into Jasper, and it will conform if doing something on brand, like this has to adhere to the brand, the Seventh-day Adventist corporate brand, then Jasper's a very good tool for doing that. Okay, step 4. Here's a key part that a lot of people don't do, which is human editing and adding value. So spend time putting yourself into the content. So AI doesn't do original insight. AI can't create anything new. So if we go back to the two words we used at the very beginning, large language model, it creates content based on existing information. It doesn't create something new. And generative AI, it will only generate ideas out of that existing content. Your God-given human brain is the one that can generate new thought. And this is important. This is very important to not defer that to AI. So this is where AI cannot give personal experience, examples from your own work, opinions, and analysis. So this is where your content stops being AI generated, and this is important. Your content is AI assisted. It needs to be your voice, it needs to be your ideas, but AI is assisting you to get to the end result quicker. Okay, the best tools for this, you. This is your step in the process. So, this is what to add manually into content, your own take, the what they didn't tell you insight, data from your own research, and this is an important part of content creation, making it genuinely your story that you're delivering to people in your voice. So step 5, for those who need SEO optimization, so you're putting content on a website, and it will be, not everything needs to be SEO optimized, and you want Google to grab that, or the other search engines to grab that, and increasingly AI to grab that and have it as a resource. So this is something that AI is spectacularly good at. You can cut down a fair amount of time into a very short amount of time. It's really great at keyword integration, meta descriptions, headings, and readability scoring. So this is where it looks at your data and goes, hey, these are the best keywords for you to put in. This would be a great heading to capture attention. It is actually really, AI is very good at that. So there are, tools like Surfer EEO. You can check things like, are the keywords that you researched at the very beginning, are they in your article enough times for Google to look at it and go, I actually understand what this article is about. Tools for this are Surfer SEO, Rank Math, and Phrase. And honestly, there's new ones of these coming out every single day. So these are just some tools if SEO is important for you to have a look at. So visual content. Can we take 60 minutes down to 10 in your process when creating visual content? So what AI can handle here is image generation and thumbnail creation. You have no idea how the right or wrong thumbnail on the internet will either make people click on your content or stop people engaging your content. So thumbnail creation is an art. AI can help you, but use your human, connectivity to be able to look at this as well. So, written content alone doesn't cut it in 2026. You need visuals. We are visual people, the concept of doom scrolling. Imagine your content is someone is kind of bored, sitting there on a chair, going scroll, scroll, scroll. If your image comes up, are they inspired to click on it? And that's the test you have to give to yourself. Is what I've presented, inspiring enough for someone to go, I actually want to know about this. So there's different tools for this. I'm a graphic designer by trade, and I really don't want to do this, but I am going to say Canva. But Canva's AI Magic Studio is great at developing, infographics and social graphics. Midjourney and DALL-E, so DALL-E is part of ChatGPT. You can actually put in, I didn't highlight Firefly. Adobe Firefly can also do text generated, so prompt generated images as well. But you really want to have source data from your content to be able to get the best out of that. All right. So, in these steps, this is what we would hope to be able to do for you if you use this structure and understand that you may use a different AI tool as each of these steps. Can we take down what is hours of work into maybe, an hour or less, depending on the size of the content that you're actually creating, Research, outline, first draft, editing, SEO, optimization, and visuals. So this is just I guess a series of steps that we suggest you go through. A lot of people start at first draft. That's where they think AI is going to help them. Help me, create this particular article, and they miss research, and then they miss the outline step. But if you add those two into your AI workflow, the content you create out the other side will be 10 times better. So I just want to go to a section at the end here in, I guess, common mistakes that people make with AI. Oh. Okay. There's just 4 points here. Publishing without human editing. I would say that this is a no-no. You really want to take your content that you want to be AI assisted. You don't want to be AI controlled. You don't want your content sounding like AI at the other end. Using AI to write about things you don't understand. You have an understanding, and you want the content to come out of your experience. You don't want to start going into spaces you don't understand and relying on AI to be the knowledge bank for you, because it will ultimately get it wrong. Over-relying on a single tool. The key here is understanding there are different tools for different parts of the process. And if you have your workflow and you understand what tools work for you, if the type of content you're creating, the output will be better at the other end. A key one is chasing volume over value. You really want value, not volume. Spend the time to understand your workflow, understand what you're trying to say, who you're trying to say it to, insert your humanity into it. Don't let AI inhibit the Holy Spirit working through you and giving you inspired thought, and your content will be better at the other end. I want ChatGPT to give you, I guess, one of the final points, which is this. It says at the bottom of ChatGPT, you'll see it all the time, I've underlined it, ChatGPT can make mistakes, check important information. It's the disclaimer that is always at the bottom of ChatGPT. For any of you that are interested, we are starting up at Adventist Media under digital discipleship. We're going to be running 2 online conferences per year that people can join online, where we'll have speakers. So we're doing this every 2 years for this next quinquennium. So that'll be 8 times in the next 4 years. We're also starting up a regular podcast, and we're starting up a newsletter to start getting more details about how to use technology and in digital discipleship and preparation for, South Pacific for Christ in your area and preparation for One Voice in 2027. So if anybody wants to sign up to the newsletter that is actually going to tell you when these things are on, so you can go online, I just recommend that you use a QR code, put your information in. In the form that comes up, there is a whole list of very specific things if you would like us to send you information about one of the ministry areas that we have at... Sorry, I'll just duck down. I think all right. Yes, thumbs up. Excellent. If you want information about very specific ministry areas that we offer, just tick the box and we will actually send you a digital package about that ministry area if you want to know any more information. I'm going to hang around at the front here. Thank you for your ears this afternoon. Make sure what you do is spirit-led. Don't let technology lead you. You are the unique voice that God has given to your area to connect to people in your area. Let AI be a tool for you to be enhanced, that is my prayer for you. I'm just going to end with a prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, I'd like to thank you for all your children here who have put their hands up to say, I'm going to be a tool in your hand to reach my community, to show what a loving God you are, in a way that they will not be able to but help fall in love with you and with a relationship with you. We pray that you help us with our processes, with our communications, that we may be the right tool for the right people. And we pray that your coming will be soon so that we can all be together as one family